Colonel. Marine, what is that button on your body armor?
A peace symbol, sir.
Where'd you get it?
I don't remember, sir.
What is that you've got written on your helmet?
Born to kill, sir.
You write born to kill on your helmet and you wear a peace button. What's that supposed to be, some kind of sick joke?
No, sir.
What is it supposed to mean?
I don't know, sir.
You don't know very much, do you?
No, sir.
You better get your head and your ass wired together or I will take a giant shit on you. Whose side are you on, son?
Our side, sir.
Don't you love your country?
Yes, sir.
Then how about getting with the program? Why don't you jump on the team and come on in for the big win?
How many babies does it take to paint a wall? Just one, but you have to throw it really hard. Obviously, the key to this joke is a surprise ending. I mention this because I have been trying to find the punchline to the question, what do you get when you cross Trump derangement syndrome with the coronavirus? All that I have found is a kind of mental illness. In our politics, we are plagued by a particularly unholy alliance between the Democrat resistance and the neocon never-Trumpers. The folks who self-identify as liberal have embraced the very people who have wreaked so much havoc on America and whom they have heretofore rightfully reviled. These folks collectively are cheering for Trump to fail in his management of the crisis of the coronavirus. In effect, they are cheering for the coronavirus to win. In effect, they are cheering for the death of their fellow citizens. This is deplorable. But look, I don't want to get any more angry than I already am. So let's start with the epidemiological risk. We have approximately 325 million people in America. The estimates are that the coronavirus will infect about 50% of us. The estimates are also that of those infected, about 3% will die. Mind you, these are just estimates. However, if they hold, the reality is that we are at risk of almost 5 million deaths. Now, this is a worst-case scenario. This outcome is not written in stone.
The modeling is only as good as the assumptions you put into the modeling. And what they do, they have a worst-case scenario, a best-case scenario, and likely where it's going to be. If we have a worst-case scenario, we've got to admit it, we could be overwhelmed. Are we going to have a worst-case scenario? I don't think so. I hope not. What are we doing to not have that worst-case scenario? That's when you get into the things that we're doing.
It is probably useful to think of the coronavirus as the enemy, and that we have to mobilize against it. This begs the question, what is the coronavirus? Coronavirus is a family of viruses which cause respiratory infections ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as SARS. What is COVID-19? It is the infectious disease caused by the recently discovered coronavirus from Wuhan, China. What are the symptoms of COVID-19? Fever, tiredness, and dry cough. These symptoms are usually mild. However, about 1 person in 6, or about 15%, will become seriously ill and will develop difficulty breathing. Older people with other medical problems are more likely to develop a serious illness. Is there a vaccine, drug, or treatment for COVID-19? Not yet. There is no vaccine or any specific antiviral medicine to prevent or treat COVID-19. People who develop a serious illness will have to be hospitalized for supportive care. How does COVID-19 spread? The virus is spread by people who are infected. It is spread by small droplets from the nose or mouth from coughing and breathing. The droplets land on objects and surfaces which are then touched by other people, who become infected by touching the eyes, nose, or mouth. It is possible to become infected by someone who does not feel ill because most people only experience mild symptoms. If you are interested in the science of this virus, Dr. John Campbell has been examining the evidence as it has developed. He has been posting information every day. Some of his information concerns how to deal with the virus.
Vitamin D supplement, for the vast majority of people, will reduce the likelihood of them getting respiratory tract bacterial infections, respiratory tract viral infections, and it can also make those infections much less serious as well. So switch off now if you want, but if you want to follow this in more detail, and it's very interesting and quite a few extra bits to give you as well, come along with me now.
What should you do if you think you are infected?
We know the symptoms of COVID-19 are dry cough, fever, and shortness of breath. If someone has those symptoms, should they go to the emergency room?
No. Thank you for the question. They should stay home, call their healthcare provider, call their physician, or even call the emergency room and say, these are the symptoms that I've had. I'm staying home. What can I do to get a test? And then you will get instructed about what the proper, safe way to do that.
What is our fundamental strategy in defeating this virus?
We don't want to wait until you get a lot of infections, because sometimes when you make whether it be Maryland, whatever they did, you make a decision to do something, and someone might say, well, are you overreacting? And we got to lose that. We got to start looking at doing things now in anticipation of what might happen. And the reason is, if you look at infectious diseases, how they work, particularly outbreaks of new infections, they go like this, then they go like this, and then they shoot up like that. And if you look at the curves of the history of outbreaks, they have these sharp peak, and then they start coming down. If you look at what happened in China, that's exactly what happened. It's starting to happen a little bit now in Korea. The purpose and the goal of both containment and mitigation is to, instead of making it go up like that, blunt it so it goes like that. You're never going to suppress it completely. So we have to get used to it. We're going to get infections, and probably a lot more infections.
Trump is providing leadership on the proper frame of mind we must adopt.
We're all in this together. It's something that nobody expected. It came out of China, and it's one of those things that happen. It's nobody's fault. We all will solve this problem. We'll solve it well. I think the American people have been incredible in the way they've acted. There's been, and if you look at companies and sports leagues and all of the things, what they've done is just something very special, without being told necessarily. In some cases, perhaps they were told, actually. But for the most part, they want to get it over with. They want to get it over with quickly and with very little death.
What is the government doing?
We're using the full power of the federal government to defeat the virus, and that's what we've been doing.
This means that the Congress is appropriating money.
Last week, we secured an initial $8.3 billion from Congress for the coronavirus, and that was quickly done and very efficiently done. I want to thank all members of Congress.
This means that a national emergency has been declared to free up additional money and to loosen some regulations. This is to increase our flexibility to respond to contingencies.
Yesterday, I declared a national emergency, which was a very big deal because it opened up avenues that we would never be able to open up without it. And it will make more than $50 billion available to us immediately in disaster relief funds. And that's available for states, territories, and local governments. So that was really, really good.
This also means that legislation has been passed.
We also reached an agreement yesterday on a new legislative package that will provide strong support for American families and communities in dealing with the coronavirus. So it was done very, very bipartisan. It was very nice to see it. Probably the cooperation. I want to thank Secretary of Treasury, Steve Mnuchin, who did a fantastic job and worked with Nancy Pelosi and their representatives, and it was really great. It worked out very well.
Included in this legislation is free testing for COVID-19.
The bill provides for free coronavirus testing for all Americans who should be tested. So people that are getting tested are getting this free. They don't have to pay. A lot of people said, gee, it's a lot of money. And it is. It's a pretty complex test, actually. And it costs money. And it's being provided free, so people don't have to worry about that.
Also included is assistance for individuals and families who are affected by an illness.
It also provides paid sick and family medical leave for those who need it, including for those who have the virus, for caregivers, and those looking after children affected by school closures. So that's all taken care of also.
In the best circumstances, aside from the post office and issuing parking tickets, the government is inefficient and largely ineffective. In this crisis, everyone is working as hard and as best as they possibly can. This crisis and its effect on our society and economy is a shock, but we must appreciate that this is happening in real time.
Incredible, the job they do. They're working 20 hours a day. This man is working 20 hours a day, or maybe more. Is it more? I think it's more. Tony has been working, I'm just looking at this whole group, and we've created a number of new stars, including the gentleman right behind me. I watched him the other day. It was such a fantastic job you did, and I really appreciate it.
Frankly, I don't understand the reasoning of the resistance, assuming they do reason. On the one hand, they have stomped their feet for 3 years that Trump is an incompetent. On the other hand, they now ascribe to him an omnipotence so as to blame him and him alone for the challenges the government is having in addressing this crisis. Two things are clear, however. First, there are far too many people acting like petulant children instead of teammates. Second, we would all be better off if the nattering nabobs of negativity would give it a fucking rest.